Hey guys, welcome back to Based MMA. I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas, an amazing Christmas Eve. I know I haven't made a video in the last couple of days, but I've been a little bit under the weather. I've been busy, but regardless, there's been a lot of things happening in the UFC. There's rumors of a potential super fight for UFC 300. We also got a couple fight announcements for UFC 298, UFC 299, some other fight night cards as well. But most importantly, in this video, I'm going to be talking about this rumor that Tom Aspinall might be fighting Alex Pereira at UFC 300. And maybe you casuals are going to get very excited when you hear that news and that potential fight. But in my opinion, it's one of the most ridiculous, stupid fights that the UFC can ever make. It makes absolutely no sense. And yeah, I'm going to sound a little bit like a Karen. And yes, I'm going to complain and rant, but Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira has no business being done. It just makes no sense. First of all, Tom Aspinall is not even the undisputed champion. We don't even know when Tom Aspinall is going to fight for the undisputed. So he's an interim. The interim belt basically means you're like the number one contender. You're basically not the champion. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to put too many belts because then it gets confusing. And you really want it to be clear that, okay, this guy's the champion of this division. This guy's the champion of that division. And once you start putting the interim and you actually start using it and defending it, it just makes a fucking clusterfuck. That's the best way to put it. Tom Aspinall is not the undisputed champion. He's an interim champion, which is basically the number one contender. Alex Pereira is actually the light heavyweight champion. And him moving up to heavyweight, if he is able to beat Tom Aspinall, which I'm going to talk about, he doesn't have 3 championships. You know what I'm saying? It's an interim belt. And it's what, Alex Pereira gonna fight John Jones if John Jones beats Stipe? Like, you see how it could become a mess, and it's not even that interesting of a matchup for it to actually happen for UFC 300. It just feels like a bunch of random ass matchmaking that makes absolutely no sense. Like, there's no one in this world that thinks, well, actually, there's some NPC Pereira fans that I'll talk about right now, but nobody with a brain thinks that Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira is an actually interesting matchup. It's not. And let's actually talk about the fight itself, and let's talk about why it makes no sense. Well, one, Tom Aspinall, way bigger than Alex Pereira, way bigger. I know Alex Pereira is a big guy, but he's like a big, lean, strong guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not this massive figure like Tom Aspinall. Like, Tom Aspinall made Sergey Pavlovich look small in there. Can you imagine how he's going to make Alex Pereira look inside the octagon? Not only that, but I believe Tom Aspinall is a way faster striker, way better of a grappler. Oh, way better. Levels in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Alex Pereira doesn't have the best chin. One punch from Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira is going to go night-night. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I know some of you NPC Pereira fans are going to say, well, all it takes is one left hook from Pereira and Tom Aspinall gets knocked out. I love Alex Pereira, but in the last couple of months, he's become one of the most overrated fighters in the UFC. Seriously. Go back and watch the year process. He wasn't winning that fight comfortably. It was a back and forth, and then he got an early stoppage. I get it. It was a good stoppage. I personally thought it was a bit of an early stoppage. I wish it would have gotten longer. That doesn't mean that I think Yuri Prochazka would have necessarily won the fight, because I don't know. Maybe he gets hurt. He gets hurt more, and he actually gets knocked out clean. But I didn't watch that fight and think that Alex Pereira is this guy that's improving. I just, the thing that you take away from the Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira fight is, one, Yuri Prochazka didn't adapt to the leg kicks. I don't know how he goes into a fight with Alex Pereira and decides to not check any leg kicks. I don't know what kind of game plan. I don't know what kind of logic goes into that. I'm just like, dude, why would you go out there with this wide stance against Alex Pereira, who's an amazing leg kicker, who doesn't telegraph any of his leg kicks? Why would you do that? But that's what Yuri Prochazka did. So that's kind of what I took away. Man, Yuri Prochazka You know, he's not as good as people say he is. And yes, I think Alex Pereira is an amazing kickboxer, but I don't think he's necessarily improving. I think his skills are already good enough to beat some of these guys in these divisions, especially at the top, especially when it comes to his kickboxing. But Tom Aspinall, man, Tom Aspinall is special. He's special. And, you know, Alex Pereira, one of his best traits is his power, his left hook that people love to bring up and glaze. People love to bring up that left hook. And Alex Pereira moving up to the heavyweight division, his power is not going to be as as effective, I guess. It's not as effective because, you know, everybody in the heavyweight division hits hard. Sergey Pavlovich hits hard. You know what I'm saying? And for Tom Aspinall, it's not going to be that big of a deal to fight someone like Alex Pereira. Yeah, he might have a lot of power in comparison to the middleweights, to the light heavyweights, but when it comes to the heavyweight division, like these guys hit hard as well. You know what I'm saying? Tom Aspinall probably, in my opinion, probably hits harder than Alex Pereira. And I think he's a little bit crisper and faster at heavyweight. And I already thought that Alex Pereira in the light heavyweight division doesn't look as fast as he looks in the at middleweight, as fast as he looked at middleweight. So him even moving up to heavyweight, like, you guys think you're gonna get the best version of Alex Pereira? No, you're gonna get a flabby, fat version of Alex Pereira. So point is, Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall makes no sense. I do not want to see it. I don't care if it's not even for UFC 300. I don't want to see it. It's a stupid fight. It makes absolutely no sense. I'd rather see Alex Pereira versus Adesanya. As much as I don't want to see that fight either, I'd rather see Adesanya versus Pereira if they're going to make that fight. And in my opinion, I don't know why they want to make that fight. You know what I'm saying? Just make Pereira versus Jamal Hill. That's a big enough fight. You know, and I know Jamal Hill's not like this big superstar, but it's what should happen next. It's what should happen next. But yeah, guys, I don't want to see Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira. I'd rather see Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. Another guy, Cyril Gane doesn't deserve another shot at the title, but you know, I'd rather see that match than Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall because I think Tom Aspinall destroys him. It doesn't make any sense. If Alex Pereira wins, what happens to heavyweight? It's just a clusterfuck. It just makes no sense. And it makes no sense. And like I said, Tom Aspinall is not even the undisputed champion of that division. So it just makes no sense. So yeah, guys, I heard that rumor of Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira, and I was really, really mad. I was just like, really? Is this clown show? Is this really what's happening? It's a stupid fight and it makes no sense. We also have news of Israel Adesanya potentially returning early 2024. I mean, he came out in an interview, said that, look, his comments that he had made about returning in 2027, it was just him exaggerating. He just wanted to take some time off. He had been a very active champion. And even though I don't like Israel Adesanya, I have to admit that he was a very active champion. So I think he wanted to take some time off, not focus on any fights, any potential fights. And I think that's what he made. That's what he meant when he said that he wasn't going to return until 2027. But it seems like he might be returning soon. And it makes sense for him to return for UFC 300. Now, there's a couple of things. Israel Adesanya is still a big star. And I think the only fight you can make for Israel Adesanya that makes sense is Hamza Chimaev. I think that's the only fight that makes sense. I know stylistically it might be a terrible fight for Israel Adesanya, but we've seen that if you can survive the onslaught of Hamza Chimaev, Israel Adesanya might have a chance with his striking in the later rounds. Now the difference is that I do think that Kamaru Usman has way better takedown defense than Israel Adesanya. You know what I'm saying? I think Israel Adesanya, by the way he's built and the fact that he hasn't faced a grappler like Hamza Chimaev, welterweight does have a lot of grapplers. I think that it would give Israel Adesanya a lot of problems against Hamza Chimaev. But it is a massive fight, which I think it absolutely belongs at UFC 300. I don't think it should be the main or co-main event. It should be the feature fight. Israel Adesanya versus Hamza Chimaev. Great fight. and then put title fights on top of that. Or if Conor McGregor returns, it could headline. But I think Israel Adesanya versus Hamza Chimaev is a fight that must be at UFC 300. It's just a too big of a fight. Israel Adesanya's comeback, even though he hasn't been out for that long, Hamza Chimaev's coming off that lackluster performance against Kamaru Usman. He's gonna want to make a statement against Israel Adesanya, and also the winner of that fight, a winner of this fight, is most likely gonna fight the winner of Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. So there's a lot of implications when it comes to the division. So it's a fight that it's a huge fight, but it also makes sense for the future of that division. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of fights that we need at UFC 300. I get it. We're going to have some fun fights that maybe, they're just for fun and for violence. But there's also needs to be fights that are significant. Fights that, you're like, wow, like that's really going to change the landscape of the middleweight division. And Israel Adesanya versus Hamza Chimaev fight feels like exactly just that. So I like the news. I like the fact that Israel Adesanya might be coming out for UFC 300. We also had some other fight announcements for UFC 300. Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. I like this fight. I just hope that it's not on the main card. I know Yuri Prochazka is a former champion and he's one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC. But Alexander Rakic is the complete opposite of that. Look, Alexander Rakic is going to win this fight by taking Yuri Prochazka down and controlling him. You know what I'm saying? So even though Yuri Prochazka is a very exciting fighter, he doesn't have the right dance partner for this fight to be on the main card of UFC 300 in my opinion. But still a good fight. I hope it's like the main event of the prelims or the main fight of the prelims. And then we also had another fight announcement between Aljamain Sterling and Calvin Kattar. Very interesting fight. I think a lot of people are writing off Aljamain Sterling in this matchup. I think that Calvin Kattar's coming off a knee surgery. He hasn't fought in quite a while as well. Aljamain Sterling, he's going to be a lot stronger in the featherweight division. He might be a bit undersized. I don't know how tall Aljamain Sterling is. I don't think he's that tall. He might be like 5'7". How tall is Calvin Kattar? Oh man, I can't see. Anyway, I think Aljamain Sterling has a better chance than people are giving him credit for. However, the striking, the boxing of Calvin Kattar is going to give him problems. If he's not able to take down Calvin Kattar, I think, Calvin Kattar might start to piece him up. The one thing that's good for Aljamain Sterling is that I think this fight's going to be 3 rounds, which is going to help him, maybe bank that first and second round. If it starts very slow, Calvin Kattar is going to have to put on the pace on Aljamain Sterling. And Aljamain Sterling is still an incredible grappler. It doesn't matter if he's moving up to the featherweight division. The thing is that everybody in the featherweight division does have great takedown defense, but it's still a very interesting matchup. Also a great fight, but it's not a fight worth. It's not a fight worthy of being on the main card of UFC 300 in my opinion. But also a great fight. Definitely should be on the prelims. And then the fight that makes absolutely no sense: Bo Nickal versus Cody Brundage. It's like, really, dude? If you're gonna give Bo Nickal Cody Brundage, just put that at a fight night. Like, they could have done that in January. Like, why does that have to be at UFC 300? It should have been Bo Nickal versus Roman Kopylov. That's the fight that people want to see. And yeah, maybe it's too big of a step up for Bo Nickal, but come on, Cody Brundage? Seriously, Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage. Ridiculous, man. But anyway, those are the announcements and rumors for UFC 300. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Happy holidays, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one.